Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
A philanthropist and community leader is being remembered for her lasting impact on San Diego. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. A celebration of life was held for Joan Jacobs today. KPBS reporter Melissa May shares what people said about the beloved matriarch of the Jacobs family.
Joan Jacobs was a champion for the Rady Shell at Jacobs Park. Just a day after Mother's Day, the venue welcomed hundreds of community members to her celebration of life. Jacobs died on May 6th at the age of 91. A montage of family photos were projected on screens as lively songs played in the background. Friends and family members honored her memory.
Joan was a beacon of strength, grace, and resilience.
Mom was a major philanthropist and dedicated to making San Diego live up to America's finest city.
I love you so much. You are an amazing lady.
San Diego Padres Executive Vice President Tom Seidler says the Padres are fortunate to partner with the Jacobs family.
We had a moment of silence for Joan yesterday before the game on Mother's Day, and she helped lead the Padres to victory over the Dodgers.
Seidler says the Jacobs family are tremendous leaders in the San Diego community.
They just set a high bar for how to lead in San Diego, give back to the community, and so we've been fortunate to kind of try to follow their lead and help make San Diego the best version of itself.
Jess Jacobs says her grandmother's passion for the arts influenced her to pursue a career as an artist.
I learned to see the world through Joan's eyes, which meant seeing and understanding through the lens of art and culture.
Along with the Rady Shell, the Jacobs family has donated millions of dollars to the Museum of Contemporary Art San Diego, the La Jolla Playhouse, and the San Diego Symphony, who is dedicating their 2024-2025 opening season of Jacobs Music Center to Joan Jacobs. Melissa May, KPBS News.
And in the interest of full disclosure, the Jacobs family has long been a major donor to KPBS and a supporter of KPBS News. Today, the San Diego City Council confirmed the next chief of police. Mayor Todd Gloria nominated Assistant Chief Scott Wall from a pool of 56 candidates to head the San Diego Police Department. And this afternoon, the City Council confirmed the appointment in a unanimous vote. He will replace retiring Chief David Nisleit, who served 6 years in the role. Wall will take over the department on June 7th. The plan to create San Diego's largest homeless shelter is back in negotiations. The City Council held a closed-door meeting this afternoon. Mayor Gloria hopes to transform an empty building on Kettner and Vine into a shelter that would house 1,000 people. Concerns have been raised over the building's proposed purchase price. It also comes at the same time homeless service providers are facing budget cuts. In a statement today, Gloria said the shelter plan is on track and he is fully committed to getting it done.
Well, we're going to be dealing with some low clouds. We call it May gray this time of the year. Low clouds into the late night and morning hours with some gradual clearing in the afternoons. Overnight tonight, we'll get down to around 60 in San Diego. And the spread for the interior, cool side, Campo, Mount Laguna in the 40s. Borrego Springs drops down to the low 60s. Tuesday's going to be another steamy day in the interior. Into the deserts, we'll talk about any subtle changes we could look forward to, maybe offering a little relief in our full forecast.
Former President Donald Trump was back in court today, and his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, took the stand. Cohen is an important witness for prosecutors as they try to prove Trump illegally falsified business records. Julia Benbrook has the latest on the trial and how it's impacting the race for the White House.
Former President Donald Trump is charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records. New York prosecutors allege Trump did that to cover up his reimbursement to his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, back in 2016.
The prosecutors need Cohen to express to the jury that what he was doing when he created these entries was covering up the fact that they had paid hush money for this story and then tie it into the campaign.
This stems from a $130,000 payment Cohen made to adult film star Stormy Daniels to keep her from going public about an alleged affair with Trump. The former president has denied the affair and pleaded not guilty to the charges. Cohen testified that Trump told him to work with the National Enquirer editor to get control of Daniels' story and prevent it from hurting his campaign, as prosecutors walked jurors through Trump's alleged involvement in the scheme. If Trump were convicted, it's unclear if it would impact his standing with voters.
I should be in a lot of different places right now campaigning, and I'm sitting here.
Despite Trump's ongoing legal issues, a new set of state surveys finds Trump holds an advantage over President Joe Biden among registered voters in 4 key states. The same surveys show the two candidates locked in close races in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Binbrook.
Our region's cross-border economy is measured in the billions, and the policies of Mexico's next president could have significant impacts on the region. KPBS reporter Gustavo Solis examines what's at stake.
Why should San Diegans care about Mexico's presidential election? Well, because what happens in Mexico doesn't actually stay in Mexico. This is particularly true when it comes to the economy. Saúl Sandoval is a professor of economics at CETIS University in Tijuana.
So if something happens here in Mexico in terms of the decrease in production and different goods and services, then perhaps Americans will face the consequences with higher prices, right? You need to import from different places around the world.
Mexico is a key part of the U.S. supply chain. A dizzying array of products, from cars to televisions to medical devices, are all manufactured in Mexico and shipped through the U.S. border. And this relationship is more intertwined than ever, so says Rafael Fernández de Castro, director of the Center for U.S.-Mexico Studies at UC San Diego.
Mexico has become now the #1 U.S. trading partner. It's not Canada, it's not China, it's Mexico.
An estimated 80,000 people live in Baja California but cross the border to work in San Diego every single day. And more than $4 billion worth of goods cross the San Isidro and Otay Mesa border crossings every year. So the policies of Mexico's next president on issues like trade, immigration, and security will have a big impact on our region. The two leading candidates vying for a 6-year term in the June 2nd election are Claudia Sheinbaum and Xochitl Gálvez. Experts say that both of them recognize the importance of the cross-border economy.
Both understand the opportunities there, but in terms of how to maximize those, do differ a little bit.
Flavio Olivieri is the director of the Center of Excellence in Competitiveness and Entrepreneurship at CETIS University.
Buen día, llegamos a Tijuana.
Sheinbaum was mayor of Mexico City from 2018 to 2023 and represents the popular Morena Party, which was founded by current Mexico President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Experts say a Sheinbaum presidency would, in many ways, continue what López Obrador started. When it comes to the economy, Olivieri expects Sheinbaum to be more focused on labor issues.
On the other side is more labor-intensive focus, more on labor rights, increasing minimum wage.
For example, she supports raising the minimum wage and expanding retirement benefits. On the other hand, Gálvez is a critic of what she calls López Obrador's soft stance on crime and says high crime rates are hurting the Mexican economy.
Por eso no va a haber tema más importante para mí que la seguridad de ustedes, de sus familias, de sus hijos, de los jóvenes.
She wants to expand the cross-border economy beyond manufacturing. Sandoval says that a Gálvez presidency would focus on bringing more tech and research and development to the area, industries that pay higher wages than manufacturing.
Yes, I think because she's a more pro-market-oriented individual, I think she will make more accessible investment in Mexico and in Baja California and all the border states in general.
Experts also say that managing U.S.-Mexico relations will be a big part of the next president's job. But historically speaking, Mexico City hasn't really paid much attention to the border.
The problem is that I believe that the capitals, Mexico City and Washington, they're very far away from the border. Not only that, with the political polarization both in Washington and in Mexico City, I don't see them really putting that much attention into these border areas.
But given what's at stake, Fernandez says that local leaders should speak loud enough to get the president's ear, no matter who she may be. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News.
And this is the second in a series of stories that KPBS has reported on the Mexican election. Next is a look at how the election will impact environmental issues in the border region. And KPBS is hosting a virtual conversation this month in both English and in Spanish about the election. We want to hear from you. What topics do you want covered in this conversation? Submit your questions or comments at kpbs.org/Mexico election or call the number on your screen, 619-630-8516. Graduation ceremonies are continuing at universities across the country, and so are protests. Amy Kiley shows us what happened over the weekend.
I ask that you allow the program to continue.
With chanting, walkouts, and graduation stage takeovers, pro-Palestinian students are finding ways to protest during university commencement ceremonies.
It's sad, and I think it's a really bad way to end your college career.
Some students and parents are upset at Pomona College outside Los Angeles. The school says it decided ahead of last night's ceremony to move it off campus for safety reasons. That's in response to demonstrators occupying the original venue.
As our universities celebrate, we should also be extremely critical of their involvement that has led to the decimation of entire educational infrastructure.
In North Carolina,
I know all of you here are going to use all of your brains and muscle and soul to improve the world.
This video shows about 30 students at Duke University walking out of Sunday's commencement service just before comedian Jerry Seinfeld spoke. Some appear to be holding Palestinian flags. And here's another walkout at Virginia Commonwealth University during the governor's speech Saturday and chanting at UC Berkeley the same day.
I invite you to speak with me after the event in a space that's more appropriate.
Free Palestine! I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
I'm Amna Nawaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, Michael Cohen takes the stand in former President Trump's criminal hush money trial. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Researchers at UC San Diego have found a way to make some plastics biodegrade in a matter of just months. KPBS SciTech reporter Thomas Fudge explains their target is a petroleum-based plastic that's already used in many common products.
Millions of tons of plastic are created and discarded every year. The vast majority are petroleum-based, and they do not naturally degrade. Unless it's recycled, and few plastics are, it remains a waste item for up to 1,000 years. But what if we can find an organism that literally eats plastic?
We screened several different bacterial strains to see if they could use the polyurethanes as a food source.
Researcher John Pekorski says in the end they found two kinds of bacteria that could use polyurethane as an exclusive food source. This form of plastic, it goes by the acronym TPU, is used in lots of things from cushions and shoes to watch bands. In the U.S., we make over 1 million tons of polyurethane every year. Pekorski and his team embedded spores in their plastic as it was created. Spores are like dormant seeds that will become bacteria. When the spores wake up, they start feasting on the TPU. So what wakes them up?
So they need something wet, and they need things like sugar, things that happen in soil, things that you'd find in compost. And so one of the things that's really neat about these is that we think that it doesn't matter what environment they're disposed in. If they go to a landfill, the bacteria will wake up and degrade the polymers. If they go to compost, same thing.
He says they saw their plastic with bacterial spores almost entirely disappear within 5 months. The way researchers talk about adding spores to the manufacture of polyurethane is the way they'd talk about adding salt to your soup. Bioengineer Adam Feist, another member of the research team, says, yep, it's just another additive.
When you make rubber compounds or plastic compounds, it's a mixture of things. It's the raw polymer itself, it's, colorants, other things that get poured in there, right? The spores actually, in this case, are just one more thing that get poured in to the mix.
He says the bacteria they used was modified in the lab by speeding up their evolution so they could select bacteria that withstood the high heat of plastic manufacturing. The bacteria does not degrade all plastic, only the TPU selected by researchers. Feist calls their plastic material a contrived marriage between microbes and polymers. We'll need to find out if this shotgun wedding can lead to the production and use of a common plastic that degrades as well as organic materials. Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.
A new variant of COVID-19 could be on the rise this summer. Experts are keeping a close eye on KP.2 as the leading variant in the U.S. It went from making up just 1% of cases in March to now accounting for a quarter of them. Early lab tests showed the variant does a better job at evading our immune defenses. But while cases don't appear to be surging yet, the CDC says there is no reason to believe it could cause more serious illness than other strains. New weight loss drugs are changing the lives of many who struggle with weight and chronic conditions that go along with it. But experts say these medications aren't for everyone. Mandy Gaither has 5 facts about these new drugs that everyone should know.
The demand is skyrocketing. About 1 in 8 U.S. adults have used medications like Ozempic and Wegovy, according to a recent survey, and the drugs aren't just aiding in weight management.
We see them helping with blood sugar control and diabetes. We see benefits in heart disease and likely to see more to come.
Dr. Scott Butch is director of obesity medicine at Cleveland Clinic. He says the first thing to know about these new weight loss drugs is that they're not for everyone. Right now, the medications are approved to treat people with obesity, not those trying to shed a few pounds. Second, the drug should only be acquired through an experienced, trained medical professional. Third, this class of drugs called GLP-1 may lead to more pregnancies because of how they work. And since there's not enough research on the effect this medication may have on a pregnancy, patients should stop taking the drugs at least 2 months before trying to get pregnant. Next, there are potential side effects. Butch says that includes nausea, vomiting, constipation, diarrhea, and fatigue. Finally, Butch says insurance doesn't cover the medication for weight loss.
Bias exists around obesity that affects both the reasons why insurance companies are not covering anti-obesity medications like these, as well as why certain implementation of obesity treatments, like seeing a dietitian, for example, isn't covered by most insurance companies.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
If you've walked along the beach lately, you may have noticed clear oval shapes dotting the shore. KPBS reporter Katie Anastas says while they might look like plastic, they're not.
The round, clear shapes have rings and a thin sail running down the middle. They're called Valela, or by-the-wind sailors, and they're washing up all along the west coast.
Valela are a zooplankton that live at the air-sea interface. They have a characteristic chitinous sail, and because of that sail, they often get blown ashore in times of high shoreward winds and currents.
Anya Steiner studies zooplankton like the Valela at UCSD's Scripps Institution of Oceanography. Fresh lab samples show the bright blue color they have when they're alive. Once they wash up on shore and die, they turn translucent.
We tend to see them either in the spring or fall, but Valela strandings are super hard to predict. They're really ephemeral in nature. It all depends on whether or not we get all these factors lining up.
Along with shoreward winds, there has to be enough nutrient-rich water flowing up to the ocean surface. Valela catch their prey with tiny tentacles dangling from their bodies. Their predators include violet snails and ocean sunfish. Their stings are not usually harmful to humans, but scientists recommend avoiding touching your eyes or mouth after handling a Valela.
I absolutely recommend swimming or surfing while they're out there. They look beautiful while they're in the water, all fully intact and bright blue. So yeah, if you're out there swimming or surfing, you should keep your eye out. You can surf right alongside those little sailors.
Steiner says the appearance of the Valelas is a reminder to stay curious as you walk along the beach. A window into a hidden world when conditions are right to bring it to shore. Katie Anastas, KPBS News.
As we take a look at that forecast here, very little change near the coast. We're going to see this rhythm of low clouds each night and morning, some gradual clearing in the afternoon. Temperatures aren't going to move much early this week here or through midweek for the coastal areas. For the interior, this is in quotes, a subtle cooling. It's still going to be very warm, but maybe not as steamy as it was in the deserts on this Monday. But again, those clouds in the morning hours will be fairly thick. So low clouds near the coast return tonight, 60 for your low in the metro. And tomorrow, clouds in the morning. Through the afternoon, we'll begin to see some clearing, and will be brightest into the interior. 94 in Borrego Springs, 59 in Mount Laguna. A lot of us will be into the 70s if your toes are in the sand, or if you're right into San Diego, we'll be into the upper 60s for highs. Forward to Wednesday, a little warmer into parts of the Great Basin, but for us into Southern California, it won't be any hotter in the deserts than it was on Monday, most likely. So again, temperatures pretty steady, just gradual cooling, slight cooling for some. And you'll notice that we're going to stay dry here. The southern Rockies are beginning to see some spotty daily thunderstorms, but not here locally. We have high pressure, and again, those low clouds will be lurking. So for the coast, 70 Tuesday, 72 Wednesday, each day, low clouds in the morning, brighter in the afternoon. We drop into the upper 60s, very subtle cooling later this week. But pretty comfortable weather. Just those low clouds are a little more persistent. Into the interior, 75 Tuesday, back into the upper 70s Wednesday and Thursday, and then there is some cooling Friday into Saturday, back to the low 70s for highs with some low clouds and then some afternoon sun. Into the mountains we go, and here we're up around the upper 50s to near 60 with some cooling into Thursday and Friday, but only by a few degrees. Not a big change. Deserts, we are going to back down to around 94 Tuesday, slightly cooler than it has been in some spots on Monday, but we bounce back to 98 Wednesday before another drop to 93 on Friday and another warm up to 97 on Saturday. So temperatures fluctuating some into the interior deserts, but we stay consistently in the 90s, and that's warm enough this time of the year. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Jeff Cornish for KPBS News.
All-star Manny Machado surprised students at Paradise Hills Elementary School this morning. He congratulated them for winning the Be a Pro and Always Go Attendance Challenge. It was a campaign to address an increase in absenteeism following the pandemic. Paradise Hills Elementary had the most improved attendance among San Diego Unified Schools. Students received many bobbleheads and Padres game tickets for their efforts. High school teams from the San Diego Unified School District have been honored for their solutions to critical community problems. KPBS education reporter MG Perez has an update on how they met the Aspen Challenge.
Please give it up for Crawford High School! These are the final steps in a 10-week journey for the Voices United team of students from Crawford High School. They are here to present their solution to chronic absenteeism with a long list of data showing that the average chronically absent student has missed 28 and a half days of school.
What would be the next steps to keep this movement going to try to get policy change?
It can be intimidating presenting before a panel of expert judges and your peers from across the county.
Take your time. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
A device like a Pocket Talk can help families more efficiently communicate and build community.
¿Me podrían ayudar con mi tarea? Could you help me with my homework?
The Crawford Voices United team determined many students miss school simply because they can't speak English. 16-year-old sophomore Joanna Duarte and her team developed the use of a pocket translator that works with 150 languages for immigrant students and their families.
Because they don't feel connected in school, like they can't communicate, that could be like a big problem. Like, imagine they give you a homework and you don't speak English. Like, how are you gonna figure that out and you can't even communicate with your own teacher?
Parents and students need to communicate more so they can
talk to each other more in school and then at home.
The Aspen Institute is an international nonprofit organization that provides students with resources and education to problem solve. The challenge competition came to San Diego this year.
We don't just want to say, young people, you can lead. Sorry we didn't solve climate change. Sorry we haven't solved global peace and security. Sorry we haven't built an inclusive economy for everyone. But we actually need to be with them in it. 150 students from 19 San Diego Unified campuses took the Aspen Challenge to solve some of society's most pressing problems.
We will be collaborating with UCSD.
In the end, the San Diego School of Creative and Performing Arts and Madison and Mira Mesa High Schools won the challenge with their plans to eliminate single-use plastics, mental health support for children, and another strategy to fight chronic absenteeism. They'll advance to the national finals in Colorado next month. Crawford was given the award for Best Collaboration.
You got something handwritten down. This is important. Now say that like you mean it.
Thank you. We are Voices United.
MG Perez, KPBS News.
And congratulations to them. Here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. Solar farms generate resistance from neighbors worried about changing the rural agricultural landscape. On NPR's Morning Edition, how a team in Iowa is working to grow food and harvest solar power on the same acreage. And KPBS Midday Edition is discussing potential solutions to deal with the climate crisis. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.